Last night while you were sleeping, something extraordinary happened. Your brain pumped fluid through itself, like a nightly dishwasher, washing away toxic proteins that had accumulated during the day. Among them, beta amyloid, the protein linked to Alzheimer's. Your neurons shrank by up to 60% to make space for this cleansing process. Your brain transferred memories from short-term to long-term storage. It deleted what wasn't important and strengthened what was. Your immune system fought off pathogens. Your cells repaired DNA damage. Your muscles regenerated. And you thought you were doing nothing. You thought sleep was wasted time. Wrong. Sleep is the most productive time of your life. We live in a society that treats sleep as weakness. "I only sleep 4 hours a night" is worn like a badge of honor. "I'll sleep when I'm dead" is a common saying among entrepreneurs. "Sleep is for the weak" is printed on motivational posters. CEOs brag about how little they sleep. Students pull all-nighters. Parents sacrifice rest for productivity. And society applauds. Look how hard they work. Look how dedicated they are. Look how much they achieve. But here's the truth. These people are destroying themselves systematically, night after night. Matthew Walker, one of the world's leading sleep scientists, puts it bluntly: "The shorter your sleep, the shorter your life." That's not a metaphor. That's science. Sleep deprivation is linked to almost every chronic disease in the developed world. Alzheimer's, cancer, diabetes, obesity, depression, anxiety, heart disease. The World Health Organization has classified night shift work as a probable carcinogen. Yes, really? Chronic sleep deprivation is in the same category as asbestos and smoking. And yet, we treat sleep as an optional extra, something we can afford once everything else is done. Let's look deeper at what actually happens when you sleep. Your brain isn't off. In fact, in certain sleep stages, it's more active than when you're awake, but it's doing something different. It's processing, organizing, healing. In deep sleep, the first stage you go through, physical regeneration happens. Your pituitary gland releases growth hormone, not to make you taller, but to renew cells. Your muscle fibers repair themselves. Your immune system produces immune cells. Your bones strengthen. Your tissues heal. People who don't sleep enough after injury take twice as long to recover. Not somewhat longer, twice as long. Then comes REM sleep, rapid eye movement, the stage in which you dream. This is where emotional and mental processing occurs. Your brain integrates the day's experiences. It sorts memories, processes emotions, and solves problems. Ever notice that things seem clearer in the morning? That a problem that felt impossible at night suddenly has a solution? That's not coincidence. Your brain worked on it while you slept. REM sleep also removes the emotional charge from memories. You keep the memory of a traumatic event, but the intense emotional reaction is softened. That's why people with PTSD often have sleep problems. Their brains can't process the trauma, so the memories remain emotionally charged and are relived again and again. Then there's the glymphatic system, the brain's cleaning mechanism, discovered only in 2012. Every organ in your body has a lymphatic system to remove waste, but scientists once thought the brain didn't. They were wrong. It has one, but it only works during sleep. Imagine your brain as a city. During the day, the streets are packed, full of traffic, too busy to clean. But at night, the street's empty, and the cleaning crews come out. That's exactly what happens in your brain. While you sleep, cerebrospinal fluid flushes through, washing away toxic proteins like beta amyloid and tau, the two key suspects in Alzheimer's. Without enough sleep, these proteins aren't fully cleared. They accumulate year after year, decade after decade, and eventually, often decades later, you see the consequences: memory loss, cognitive decline, dementia. The cause? Those sleepless nights you once thought were harmless. Sleep is also essential for learning. You physically cannot learn effectively without it. Think of your short-term memory as an inbox. Throughout the day, it fills up with emails. At some point, it's full. No more can fit. Sleep is when you sort those emails. Important ones are archived in long-term memory, the rest deleted. Without sleep, the inbox stays full. New information simply bounces off. Studies show that if you learn something and then don't sleep, you retain about 40% less than someone who does. And sleep before learning is just as important as sleep after. In one study, participants who hadn't slept the night before, learning performed 40% worse. They couldn't even absorb new information properly. Pulling all-nighters before exams? The worst thing you can do. You're cutting your learning ability in half. Sleep also governs your emotions. When you're tired, small problems feel catastrophic. Minor comments sting deeply. You're irritable, reactive, unstable. That's not just a feeling, it's neuroscience. Sleep deprivation deactivates your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for rational thought and emotional control, while hyperactivating your amygdala, the fear and reactivity center. The result? Your emotional reactions to negative stimuli are 60% stronger when you're sleep deprived. You're literally not yourself. You're an emotionally dysregulated version of you. That's why couples argue more at night, why you make regrettable decisions, why tiny things set you off. Chronic sleep deprivation is one of the strongest predictors of depression and anxiety. It's not just a symptom, it's often the cause. People with insomnia are 10 times more likely to develop depression. The good news? Improve your sleep, and mental health often follows. Sometimes symptoms disappear entirely. Sleep isn't a side note of mental health, it's the foundation. And no, you can't just catch up on weekends. It doesn't work like that. If you miss 2 hours of sleep 5 nights in a row, you've built up a 10-hour deficit. Sleeping extra on Saturday won't erase it. Some damage has already occurred. The toxic proteins that weren't cleared, the immune cells that weren't made, the memories that weren't consolidated. Sleep isn't a bank account. You can't overdraw and repay later. Each night has its own purpose, each sleep stage its own function. Miss one, and you lose unique processes that can't be recovered. The physical consequences of sleep loss are staggering. One night of only 4 to 5 hours of sleep reduces your natural killer cells, the immune cells that fight cancer, by 70%. 70% after just one night. People who regularly sleep less than 6 hours have a 200% higher risk of heart attack, 300% higher risk of stroke, and significantly higher risk of cancers, especially colon, prostate, and breast cancer. Sleep deprivation also disrupts metabolism. After just 1 week of 4 to 5 hours per night, you become pre-diabetic. Your cells grow insulin resistant, your blood sugar spikes. Not after years, after 1 week. And it affects weight. People who sleep less gain weight, not just because they eat more. Sleep loss disturbs hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin, but because their bodies start burning muscle instead of fat. Every diet, every fitness plan, is useless without enough sleep. Why do we sleep so poorly today? 3 main culprits: light, stress, and timing. First, light, especially blue light from screens. Your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that regulates sleep and wakefulness, depends on light. As it gets dark, your pineal gland produces melatonin, the darkness hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. But artificial light, particularly blue light from phones and computers, tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. 2 hours of screen exposure can reduce melatonin by 50% and delay sleep onset by up to 3 hours. You don't feel tired when you should. You fall asleep later, get less sleep, and still have to wake up early. Second, stress. Stress releases cortisol, a wakefulness hormone. It keeps you alert, ready to fight or flee. That was useful when stress meant a lion is chasing you. Today it means too many emails, looming deadlines, relationship problems. Chronic stress keeps cortisol levels high, even at night when they should drop. Result: you can't fall asleep because your body still thinks it's under attack. Third, timing. We ignore our natural chronotypes. Some people are larks. They tire early and wake early. Others are owls. They sleep and wake late. It's genetic, not discipline. But society is built for larks. School at 8, work at 9. If you're an owl, you're fighting biology, and you lose every time. So what helps? Consistency. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even weekends. Your body loves routine. Darkness. Make your room truly dark. Blackout curtains, no LEDs, no standby lights. Avoid screens at least an hour before bed, or use blue light filters if you can't. Temperature. Your body needs to drop core temperature to fall asleep. Keep your bedroom cool, ideally between 16 and 19 degrees Celsius. Wind down routine. Your body needs transition. You can't go from 100% activity straight to sleep. Create a ritual. Read, stretch, breathe, meditate. Anything that tells your body it's time to rest. Avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. It has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours, meaning half of that afternoon coffee is still active at bedtime. And skip alcohol as a sleep aid. It may make you drowsy but ruins REM sleep, causing fragmented, shallow rest. Here's the paradox no one wants to accept. Sleeping more makes you more productive, not less, more. Studies show that 1 hour of sleep has a higher return on productivity than 1 extra hour of work. When you're rested, you do better work, faster, with fewer mistakes, clearer decisions, and more creativity. The world's top performers, athletes, CEOs, artists, don't sleep less, they sleep more. Roger Federer, 12 hours a night. LeBron James, 12 hours. Jeff Bezos prioritizes 8 hours over early meetings. They understand that sleep doesn't subtract from productivity, it enables it. You can't run on sleep deprivation forever. Maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe a year, but eventually your body collects the debt with burnout, illness, or breakdown. And then you don't lose just 1 hour of sleep. You lose weeks, months, maybe years. It's not a trade-off, it's an illusion. We need a cultural shift. We must stop glorifying sleep deprivation. Stop treating "I only sleep 4 hours" as a status symbol. That's not admirable. It's self-destructive. Imagine someone saying, "I only eat once a week. I'm just too busy for food." You'd think, that's not sustainable. That's dangerous. Why treat sleep differently? Sleep is not optional. It's a biological necessity, as essential as eating, drinking, breathing. You wouldn't brag about not breathing. Stop bragging about not sleeping. Companies must understand that sleep-deprived employees aren't more productive. They're liabilities. They make more mistakes, get sick more often, and burn out faster. Schools must recognize that early start times harm students. Teenagers biologically need more sleep and have a later circadian rhythm. Starting school at 8 a.m. goes against their nature. And individually, you must understand, sleep isn't something you earn after doing enough. It's not a reward for productivity. Sleep is your birthright, your fundamental need, your sacred time. Tonight when you go to bed, something magical will happen. Your brain will begin to heal. Your cells will regenerate. Your memories will be sorted. Your emotions will be processed. All of it will happen without effort, if you simply allow it. That's not passivity. That's not laziness. It's the most intelligent form of activity your body knows. Sleep is not stillness. It's healing. It's regeneration. It's the foundation for everything else in your life. You cannot be healthy without sleep. You cannot be happy without sleep. You cannot be productive without sleep. Everything begins here, in darkness, in silence, in rest. So give yourself permission. Permission to be tired. Permission to rest. Permission to sleep. Not later, not when everything is done. Now. Because sleep is not a waste of time. Sleep is when your life is being saved every single night.